Ethereum. Let's talk about ETH, baby. Let's talk about proof of stake. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be.
Don't decoy, avoid, or make void the topic, cause that ain't gonna stop it.
Yeah, today is about Ethereum, but not just Ethereum, the next Ethereum 1.0, who is going to take over GPU mining when it moves to proof of stake. We'll find out as we dive into the rabbit hole, because it's time for chicocrypto. So Ethereum and Bitcoin are proving themselves against the naysayers who don't see the value in decentralization and they only want speed, cheap transactions, and gains. What do I mean? The Solana network was basically down all day 2 days ago, and the blockchain was shut down by a small and centralized group of whale VC validators. They should probably change this on their website now. Decentralized and unstoppable to centralized, and we will shut it down when things start to fall apart. Now, both Bitcoin and Ethereum are based on proof of work consensus, and their current forms are decentralized. No one group can decide to shut down their blockchains. That would need to be voted on and signaled by the network of miners and nodes on each network. There couldn't just be a quick plug pulled like what happened with Solana. Proof of work with an appropriately high hash rate has proven itself to be the most reliable consensus mechanism out there, which is truly decentralized. Bitcoin has chosen so far to stick with the time-tested proof of work, but Ethereum has decided to switch. They are moving to proof of stake due to the limits of proof of work, and they're moving to the stake by the end of this year. The Beacon chain is Ethereum's proof of stake blockchain, which has been running in parallel to the Ethereum proof of work blockchain since December of last year. It's the most robust proof of stake network out there, with over 236,000 validator nodes. Although it's in its most basic form, no smart contracts, it's just running the proof of stake consensus and paying out Ether rewards to the validator stakers. Although by the end of the year, the Beacon chain becomes smart, getting those smart contracts. As a full transition to proof of stake from proof of work, it's happening. This has been termed the merge, and this is also when EIP 3554 is implemented, the difficulty bomb, which makes mining on Ethereum obsolete. It cuts the rewards to zero, and according to Nethermind, this will all hopefully be happening in December of this year. So this is great for the validators waiting in line, as they will not only be getting the staking rewards, but transaction fees that the miners have been reaping in lately. As we can see from cryptofees.com, the average over the past 7 days is over $36 million. Each day on average, $36 million in fees alone are going to the miners. And that's not including the mining rewards they are getting too. December, these million in crypto fees are going to be reverted to the proof of stake validators plus their staking rewards. But that means the miners get nothing. They get booted to the curb with the merge and the difficulty bomb. And that is a lot of power, as the Ethereum hash rate is hitting all-time highs recently. It crashed during the China mining FUD and lies in June, but has surpassed that level, and as of yesterday was over 715,000 gigahashes of mining power, or 715 terahashes. To put that in perspective, Ethereum's main fork, Ethereum Classic, only has just over 24 terahashes, or just 3.3% of Ethereum's proof of work chain. Many will argue that there is a play with Ethereum Classic here, including myself in the past, and I still do think it's a slight play. The argument is a lot of this mining power is going to migrate from Ethereum to Ethereum Classic once the merge happens. The miners and their power, it needs a place to go. And it seems like it would just make sense for the miners to go to the Classic fork. There would not need to be any adjustments, as they both use similar algos. But hold up. Ethereum is majority mined using GPUs, graphic processing units, and Ethereum has worked its butt off since its inception, restructuring and redeveloping ETH hash to make it ASIC resistant, rejecting hashes from ASIC miners. Although within the last year, Ethereum knew it was moving to proof of stake, so they didn't fight ASICs anymore, and 4 have been developed. As we can see from ASICminervalue.com, from InnoSilicon, 3 of them, and 1 from Bitmain. So these ASIC miners will likely move over to an ETH hash blockchain like Ethereum Classic, as they have to. They were built specifically to mine that algo. But the majority of the hash power is GPUs, and GPUs are flexible. They can use their power to mine other algorithms. So where are the GPU miners going to go? Well, luckily there is a great website called whattomine.com, and it shows you the most profitable proof-of-work chains for GPUs. We can ignore all the nice hash ones as they're just a middleman power broker for different algos. But number 1, of course, is Ethereum. The second most profitable is Ravencoin. Third is Ethereum Classic. Fourth is QuarkChain. Fifth is Beam. Sixth is Ergo. 7th is Metaverse ETP, 8th is Vertcoin, and we will stop at 9, and that's Xano. So, where will they go? To which blockchain? Well, to begin, miners usually don't discriminate or hold emotional grudges against blockchains. They're about one thing and one thing only. They are about profitability. So, does that mean they will all jump over to the second most profitable blockchain, Ravencoin? No, not at all. Some will, but many won't. CoinDesk actually put out an article on this in July of this year titled Valid Points, the fate of Ethereum miners when there's nothing left to mine. And in the article they said, Michael D. Carter, the host of cryptocurrency mining YouTube channel Bits Be Trippin', told CoinDesk in a phone interview that according to his calculations, if all Ethereum GPU miners were to move over to Ravencoin, the price of the coin would have to appreciate roughly 10 times in order for the miners to remain profitable. To Carter's mind, the more likely scenario post-merge is that the miners end up splitting their computational energy, also called hash rate, across multiple different coins that support GPU mining and stay in business by spreading out to several new blockchain networks. You're going to see network discovery, and you're going to get buzz around other networks naturally because people are going to want to know, where are the miners going to be pointing their hash rate? Is there anything as profitable? What's the value propositions of these other networks, Carter said. Now, I would trust Michael Carter, Bits Be Trippin'. He is a large and very knowledgeable miner who has been analyzing this for some time, diving into the technical and financial details. So they're going to likely spread out among the top coins on what to mine, but the coins they do move to need to have volume and liquidity for the miners to unload. So coins like Metaverse ETP and even old Vertcoin might not see much as their liquidity and volume is drying up. So where do I, chicocrypto, see the GPU hash rate going? Where will be the GPU miner's biggest new home, bringing in the most power, and the one that will likely do the biggest price increase, thus balancing out profitability for the miners? I don't think Ravencoin, as pulling out its hash rate since the May crash, it still hasn't recovered. It's lower than it once was. Ethereum Classic. It will get a good chunk from Ethereum, as the hash rate did make a big jump in May and then a slight dip in June, but it still hasn't surpassed the May high. Who else out of those listed on what to mine? Well, there is one blockchain who already has more terahashes of power than Ethereum Classic, and its hash rate has been exploding since May of this year, which signals to me some of the Ethereum miners and their GPUs have already been migrating. That is Ergo. Since May, it has jumped from about 2.5 terahashes to peaking at 40 just a few days ago, but it has dipped and is currently just above 32 terahashes, still above Ethereum Classic. And that's still a very big push up in just a few months. Now I know some of you are going to be like, hey Tyler, this is Ergo connected to Emergo and Cardano. The people behind Ergo are former IOHK devs. Well, I know that, but this is mining, and miners care for one thing and one thing only: profitability. They don't care about emotional grudges, Ethereum maximalism, and the like. And when it comes to miner migration and price increases due to that, neither does chicocrypto. I still hate Cardano and its failure of smart contracts, but that doesn't mean Ergo isn't going to take a lot of the hash power. Cheers, I'll see you next time.